A polished track usually feels spontaneous, but the production underneath it is anything but random. This case study is Phantom Color, an original Sigma Media Corp instrumental built at 128 beats per minute in F-sharp minor. The entire arrangement is 128 bars and lands at exactly 4 minutes. In this breakdown, I will show how the sections were mapped, how each sound was given a job, and how the low end stayed stable while the rest of the mix moved. The narration is synthetic, and the instrumental is an AI-assisted production case study. Both are disclosed because the goal here is education, not pretending the process was something it was not. Before choosing presets, I wrote an energy plan. The intro had to establish an identity in 15 seconds. The verse needed enough negative space for a future lead vocal. The pre-chorus had to remove weight and increase tension. The chorus had to release that tension with full drums, wider harmony, and a more obvious hook. The second half then needed contrast, a halftime rap pocket, a bridge, a dance break, and a final chorus. Thinking in energy prevents the common mistake of adding new instruments every time a section feels weak. Sometimes the right move is subtraction, a register change, or a shorter note length, not another layer. The first 2 bars contain what I call the phantom flash. It is a low F-sharp transmission, a high prism-like fan, and a short 3-3-2 digital answer. That cue exists before the main beat, so the track announces itself immediately. A bit crusher supplies the brittle digital edge, while the kick and sub remain absent long enough for the identity to register. This is a useful writing rule. Create one unmistakable 2-bar event before building the full arrangement. It can be a rhythm, a sound design gesture, or a melodic contour. If a listener can recognize the track from that tiny moment, the rest of the production has something concrete to orbit. The session has a lot of lanes, but each one has a narrow responsibility. The core drum kit carries impact and 4 on the floor weight. A separate percussion lane supplies motion and fills. The sub creates the sustained foundation, while a mid-bass layer adds rhythmic aggression without replacing the sub. Chord stabs provide short harmonic punches. The pad supplies width and lift. The arpeggio creates motor rhythm. The main lead states the hook, and the counter lead answers it. This role-based approach makes editing faster because every track can be judged against a simple question. Is it doing its assigned job? Or is it masking a lane that already owns that space? The arrangement becomes wide without moving its foundation. Kick, sub, mid-bass, the opening identity cue, and the main drum core remain centered. Supporting parts are offset in small, deliberate amounts. Hats to one side, impacts to the other, stabs left, pad right, arpeggio farther right, and glass details farther left. Time-based movement is reserved for high-frequency textures. This matters because a wide mix is not the same as a mix with everything widened. If low-frequency anchors wander or become decorrelated, the chorus may sound impressive in headphones and collapse on a phone, club system, or mono playback. The chorus is not bigger only because it is louder. It feels bigger because the verse leaves room. The pre-chorus changes the center of gravity, and the drop restores physical weight. Dense 16th note hats arrive when the section can support them. The bass rhythm becomes more assertive. The chord stabs shorten and repeat. The hook moves to a register that can sit above the drums. Later, the halftime rap section resets the listener's sense of pulse before the final climb. That is why arrangement is often the highest return mixing tool. Contrast is created before any limiter, stereo processor, or automation lane has to rescue the song. The mastered instrumental reference measured about -13.2 LUFS integrated and remained below -1 dB true peak. That is intentionally conservative. The vocal ready premaster keeps roughly 6.5 decibels of peak headroom so a singer can be tracked, edited, and balanced without fighting a finished limiter. The session also passed basic quality checks. Exact duration, active audio in the first and final seconds, no full-scale samples, no silent 100 millisecond blocks, and healthy stereo correlation. The important distinction is that this is a reference master. A vocal inclusive release needs a new balance and a new mastering pass after the real performance is recorded. The repeatable method is simple. First, design a recognizable 2-bar identity cue. Second, lock tempo, key, form, harmony, and section energy before chasing sounds. Third, create separate lanes with explicit jobs. Fourth, Audit the actual drum and synth behavior instead of trusting preset names. 5th. Keep the low frequency anchors centered and move only the supporting information. Finally, bounce without normalization and measure the result. The point is not to copy this exact arrangement. The point is to replace vague decisions with a system that makes every layer defend its place. If you want more production case studies from Sigma Media Corp, subscribe and tell me which part of the session should be unpacked next.